ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Cannon Fire Hotline Show. The Buccaneers are victorious in Week 17, and they finished with a record of 11-5. We are live on YouTube today, going to be taking your calls over the next hour and a half or so, maybe. I want to talk about the win, 44-27. The Buccaneers sweep Atlanta, and they finish their season up 11-5. Mike Evans broke the record. Got injured the next play. But we've got a lot to talk about with this game, and of course we'll talk a little bit about the playoffs. But what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, as always, Rhett Matthew. Coming at you solo today, but Evan Wanish should be calling us, actually. And I'll tell you what I did, which, I think I might have been a little bit too excited to get this show rolling because I don't even have Skype open right now, and that's what I use to take your guys' phone calls. So 813-433-0323 is the number to call. I'm going to go ahead and drag Skype over here. Hopefully the live stream doesn't mess up too bad. But once again, 813-433-0323 is the number to call. But Bucs win 11-5 on the season, 44-27 over Atlanta. An up and down game, but a game that the Buccaneers played all four quarters in and came out victorious, which is exactly what you want. While we're sitting here fixing things, waiting for your phone calls, I want to fix this live chat because I don't think you guys are looking at it. So I got to open this up. They updated this thing a little while ago. Source automatic. Sure, we'll go with that. All right, so if you guys are in the live chat, you should be popping up here shortly over there on the screen. But, you know, I didn't really have any plans to do this call-in show. I just kind of did it impromptu. I was feeling really good about the win. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about Mike. As of right now, the Buccaneers did lock up the 5th seed. Not SFR in the live chat. Greetings from Germany. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your international support. John Samuelson says, "Go Bucks." Yes, sir. Nobody else is in the live chat, so not able to see what's going on right now on the screen. But how's everybody doing? Happy Victory Sunday, I guess. The Buccaneers just played a couple hours ago. And like I said, this was kind of an impromptu call-in show thing. Evan might be calling in a little bit later. But 813-433-0323 if you want to get some stuff off of your chest. A pretty big day for the Buccaneers, and we'll go over some of the stat lines from it. But as I had mentioned briefly before, Mike Evans is probably the biggest story of the day coming out of this game. So I believe the second drive... he broke the record for the most 1,000-yard seasons to start a career. He broke Randy Moss's record. He is, I mean, damn, dude, I don't know what else 13 has to do other than win a championship to already have a Hall of Fame caliber career. But he is definitely a one-of-a-kind, talented player and one of the greatest Bucs of all time. But he got the 1,000 yards. In the very next play, they took a shot to him in the end zone. He slipped, hyperextended his right knee. I want to say right knee. No, it was his left knee. It was his left knee, excuse me. But he was making his cut, slipped on the turf, and hyperextended his knee. He didn't play the rest of the game, limped back to the locker room. The TV report made it sound like he was in a ton of pain. And he went for an MRI. Now, Bruce had said in his post-game press conference, and it seems like most of the tone around this, injury is not as bad as we first expected. With Mike kind of, having his run-ins with ACLs before, that's what everybody's mind wanted to go to. But as time went by, I think it's more of a knee thing than it is an ACL tear. But BA addressed it a little bit in his post-game presser, said we'll know a little bit more by this time tomorrow. So, to be honest with you, I seriously doubt he plays next week. I don't think he plays, but that's also kind of, the other story coming out of this is that without Mike Evans, this offense still put up 44 points. I mean, Tom Brady, 4 touchdowns. It was just, it was a day that, started off quickly for the Bucs, and that's why they were able to get the 40 yards from Mike so quickly. But it was the first time that I really think over these last 2 weeks, I don't want to say the first time, but over these last 2 weeks, we have seen this offense officially firing on all cylinders. And, I think that's exactly what you want at this time of the year. You look at certain teams that are falling apart. The Steelers lost today to finish 12-4. Losing your last 4 out of 5 is not the way you want to go into the playoffs. So with the Bucs and their victory today, they lock up the 5th seed. They're going to face the champion of the NFC East, and they do it with an 11-5 record. 4 wins in a row, by the way. They went from 7-5 to 11-5. So Tom Brady and company getting some stuff done. Once again, 813-433-0323. If you want to call in, we'll talk about whatever the hell you want to. There was a lot to talk about with this game. We're going to go over some stat lines here since I've got them lined up. A huge offensive day. Tom Brady, 26 for 41, 399 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. And this interception is exactly what you would think of when it comes to Buccaneer-style interceptions. Tampa Bay branded interceptions. It was a short slant route to Scotty Miller, who tried to make a diving catch, couldn't hang on to it, bounced up and out of his hands, never hit the ground, and the corner was standing right there. It was crazy because, one, Scotty should have had it. And two, the guy, covering Scotty had fallen down on the turf, which, a whole other thing in itself. The turf today was garbage. They played the Outback Bowl yesterday in Raymond James, and apparently the fielding crew didn't really give too much of a damn to try and get some of the bad spots out of there. So the combination of the not super sunny weather, a little bit of rain, and the game being played yesterday made some tough conditions out there. But yeah, that Scotty pick was weird, man. Like, I don't know. Nobody can really be mad at Brady. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff happened to Jameis. It's happened to every quarterback that plays in Tampa. Let me check back in the live chat. Mr. Bucks Nation, call us. James, call me. I'm all by myself. 813-433-0323. He says, heck yeah, bro. Go Bucks. Thanks for jumping in here, James. Really do appreciate you. You were fashionably late, though, like you were to last episode. So I haven't forgotten that. Salim Abdullah says, what's up, Rhett? How you doing, my man? Kevin, what's going on, brother? South Carolina, we got people chiming in. The type of injury Mike has usually takes 2 to 4 weeks to recover, but BA said it wasn't too serious, so a week or two at most, I think. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, the point that I wanted to get to was I think this offense rolling the way that they are, thank God for Antonio Brown, who had his biggest day as a Buck today, the leading receiver on the team. But this offense can function without Mike Evans out there, and that's definitely, something that everybody was talking about this team could do, and now we get to see them do it. So, you're playing an NFC East team next week. You don't know if it's either going to be the Giants or if it's going to be the Washington football team. But, we'll find that out by the time we record tomorrow's show. And don't worry, we're going to be doing a game review tomorrow. Myself and Evan will be reunited, and we should actually... We might have an interview. We're kind of 50-50 on it. We just got to kind of wait and see. Not SFR says if he is 50-50, let him rest. Yeah, I think we should be able to do it with Godwin and AB. That's what those guys proved today for sure. Chris Joseph says, Bucks pay homage to Brady. He changed the culture, winner mentality. You owe him everything playoffs. Yeah, sure. Yeah. TK09. No, Evan, even better. I don't have to listen to the person who ignores my DMs. Oh, damn. I know he's probably watching, so if he's lurking around in the live chat, he told me he'd call in at some point. So Mr. Too Legit might be making an appearance here, but no Evan today. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. We're doing a show on Monday, and maybe a special guest. I don't know. We have to see if his schedule works out. John Samuelson, Go Bucks from Wichita, Kansas. Armor Man, let's hope Mike is ready to go for next week. Of course, Jason Shaw. Other than the 1 seed, the 5 seed is the best seed you could hope for in the NFC. With no fans, home field advantage isn't huge, but playing the NFC East is the closest thing to a bye week. And yeah, playing the NFC East, which you can't overlook anybody in the playoffs. I know that the division winner is either going to go in at 6-10 or 7-9, and they're going to probably play like a 7-9 or 6-10 team, but it's still the playoffs. It's the first time the Bucks have been there for 13 years, so they can't expect anything. I think every time this team has expected something, they look like fools. So they have to stay ready, stay focused, and don't take anything for granted. What am I trying to say here? Don't discount whatever team you end up playing, even if it is the NFC East. It's the playoffs. It's a level playing field, and you've got one game. That's just how it goes. It's not a series. It is one game. But I think the combination of, playing an NFC East team and no home field advantage, the Buccaneers were 6-2 on the road this year. They are a road warrior team. I dare I say it, they play better on the road. I think a lot of people can agree when we say that. And I mean, that's been, before Brady got here. They've always been a good team on the road. So kind of an advantage for the Bucks. I mean, depending on where they end up playing, what the weather conditions are like, but it doesn't hurt as bad when you know that your team is good at playing on the road. 813-433-0323. Call the show. I'm not sure why the live chat widget isn't working. I'll try and do that because I want to see what everybody's saying. Opacity, viewers, message. Yeah, everything's on. That's the crazy thing. What if I go to automatic source and you guys can keep talking? Because I know people are in the live chat. I don't know why. I don't want to like redo it, but I kind of have to, I guess. You guys are going to watch this in live time. That's the fun thing about these live streams, too. They're definitely a lot more casual than the regular shows we do. YouTube widgets. Live chat viewer. There it is. There everybody is. Good to see you, folks. Stand by. I'm going to get to the chat, don't worry. But if you do want to call, like I said, lines are open. 813-433-0323. Hopefully I don't mess anything up here. Yep, already messing stuff up. Look at me go. That's annoying. All right. Here we go. I've got this. We're going to make it smaller. We're going to put it in this box. You guys like the tutorial? XSplit Broadcaster is a really great program. We're not sponsored by them at all, but if we were, that'd be cool because I can sit here and talk up their product and maybe they can give me like a free premium deal. I don't know, man. It's 2021. Shoot your shot, folks. I think that works. That should work, maybe. I just got to change the layers on it. There it is. Let me see here. Layout. Chat. What color do you guys want? You want to be red? I'm going to make you red because it matches aesthetically. Make the chat a little bit bigger so I can read it better. Actually, I can't even read your names. There we go. Oh, now it's kind of hard to differentiate. Let's go yellow. Yellow's easily red, right? Can everybody agree with me here? Like a yellow or an orange? 1, 2. Sure, you guys are going to get that one. I don't know if that's a creamsicle orange, but it's an orange and I can read it. All right, so let's check back into the live chat. Thank you for standing by, folks. Kevin, what's up, dude? Let me get back to where I was before. Adam Bub, am I the only one who continues to watch the NFL after the Bucs play? No, I'm actually going to be watching the Washington game a little bit later. Can't Fire Podcast, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, this is TK. I'm calling from Alabama.
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
First-time caller. I'm doing well, man. Hey, Bucs are in the playoffs. Bucs made the 5 seed. Just a big question about who we're playing, you know?
Yeah, so as of right now, it's either going to be the Giants or Washington. If Washington wins their game later tonight, then we know we'll play them, and then if they lose, it'll be Big Blue. So one of those two teams.
Who do you think comes out, and then who would you rather see?
It's tough, man, because out of the 3 teams that were possible coming in today, I really wanted to see Dallas. I just think that's the best matchup for the Bucs in the playoffs. But my second team was New York. So of the 2 teams left, either New York or Washington. I mean, New York is above for me, but just that front 4 of Washington. You know that any team in the NFL, doesn't matter if they're good or not, if they can pressure Tom Brady, chances are they're going to stop that offense. And I think New York definitely, it'll be the second time playing Tampa Bay. That factors in, sure. But I still think New York is just a bit better of a matchup. I'm so scared of Chase Young because those guys are not.
I don't blame you. That dude's a beast.
Yeah, he's a monster.
It's definitely a real head scratcher because like you see what New York did to us last time. What was it, 2019?
Yeah,
we squeaked out of it, so it's definitely a close question, but I think it does come out to New York too. It really sucks. I wanted to see Dallas, but I guess we'll see what comes out tonight.
Okay, so I wanted to get your opinion. I don't know if you watched the Dallas game, dude, but do you think they got robbed on that fumble call?
I saw playbacks of it. I didn't watch the game in full time, but I'm not sure. It's definitely a really close call. but I definitely think it's possible that they got robbed. Yeah.
It was hard to see on TV, and I had seen everybody going back and forth. Everybody's like, no, Gallup had it behind his back or something like that. But I never saw a point where he had clear possession of the ball. Like, he was sitting on the ball, and that's when everybody dived on the pile. I don't know. It was really weird, but let me know what you guys think in the live chat. I really think that was the play that, the refs decided to kind of just throw it over to get the game over with.
Right.
Like, I don't know, man. It was weird.
Right. Well, I guess we can't complain about that, like that ball spot we got against Atlanta a few weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah, man. But yeah, I think I think in the playoffs it's still a favorable matchup. That's the thing, is that I don't want to get in my head too much about who the Bucks play, because even if they do play Washington, I would much rather play Washington than anybody else we would have faced in the 6th seed. So,
absolutely, yeah.
you got to take the good with the bad, and I think really whoever they match up with will be a pretty favorable one. But you just can't take these guys lightly, and I don't think they will. With the offense working the way that it was, Tom's pocket presence today was really, really. He looked really good. He was moving around.
I didn't even get to watch the game, man. I was at work, but I saw the stat line, so it's.
Tom threw the ball a lot. I think he was a little bit over 50%.
I think he went it was 28 for 40 something.
Let me see here. I got the stat on my phone. It was 26 for 41, but he had damn near 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and then he had the pick, which shows up in the box score. But the pick wasn't even his fault. It was just
Bucks pick. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, it's just one of those freak plays that only happens to Tampa. But whatever, the Buccaneers came out victorious. So what more can we ask for?
How did the defense play today?
I thought they were serviceable. I definitely think they stepped up when they needed to. You got a couple of big splash plays. I know Cam Gill had a sack towards the end of the game that was pretty awesome. Antoine Winfield got a forced fumble. I think there were like 3 or 4 forced fumbles on the defense. The Falcons got lucky with a couple of them, but I think they did a really good job. Kevin Minter played really well in coverage, filling in for Devin White. I do still think that the secondary can be hurting without Carlton Davis out there, and then we'll be getting Shaq Barrett back next week, so hopefully the pass rush can wake up a little bit. But
yeah,
I think the biggest thing that you noticed this week, that they were missing out there was Devin White. And while I did say Kevin Minter was serviceable in coverage, it's just, without Devin White, it really doesn't seem like this team can muster up a blitz. You know what I mean? Like every once in a while they hit home.
Because that Devin White's just insane on the blitz.
Yeah, he is the heart and soul of this defense whenever they want to go to the blitz. And I think a healthy dose of 45 in the gap is what really gets this team going. But they did a good job. You know what I mean? They took care of business. The Falcons got back into it towards the third quarter, but that key turnover at the end, and then just Tom doing what he does, man, it locked it up.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to let you go and get some other people calling in here, but go Bucks, and tell Evan to answer my DM.
Hell yeah, brother. It was good talking to you. Go Bucks.
All right, take it easy, boy.
813-433-0323 is the number to call. First caller of the day. Yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game. I don't know what else to say. Got a call from the 803. Thanks for calling, CFP. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, I'm calling from South Carolina.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Yeah, name is Celine, calling from South Carolina. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my man. What's on your mind?
Doing good. You said, I was calling about the fumble that you had with the Dallas game. Goldman, he ended up having it. Like, if you look back at one of the replays, he was kind of laid out on his back with it. When the replay showed it, after he came down, he was on his back when the ball popped back up.
Okay. All right. Because I was between my phone and watching that game, but I remember when they had slowed it down and they're going to the replays, I vividly remember they're in the booth and they're like, Mike Pereira, we need an explanation for this. And right off a first glance, I really thought it was just a terrible call. But if that's the case, I believe you. I definitely wasn't watching it as close as I could have been, but it was still just wacky stuff that I swear you only see in this league in 2020. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I said because, I was here at work and I wanted to play Dallas. Like, it was kind of funny because I really, really wanted to play Dallas in the playoffs. And I know a lot of my friends who live down here in South Carolina, they wanted it too because they all said that they was going to go to Dallas, to watch the game
Right.
if Dallas had won.
How far of a
So when
how far of a trip is that? I'm kind of curious. Like, would you guys drive to Dallas from South Carolina, or are you getting a ticket to fly?
nah, their plan was to fly. They was gonna
Okay, all
fly.
right.
We was gonna drive. Yeah, they was gonna fly. And so they said when I first watched it, I was like, oh man, they got robbed because he clearly fumbled it. You seen the ball, you seen there was no way he caught it because he did kind of sit on it, and you looked at it as Dallas. There's no way they should have not had caught it.
Right.
But in one of the other replays, you can see, he was laid out on his back with the ball on his chest. Then that's when it popped up in the air from the pile, and so it looked like it was okay.
It's
But,
funny,
still,
it's funny
still
to
a
me
fluke
because
thing.
I see a play like that, and then I kind of just think of, it is the playoffs, and I know that I just said you can't overlook your opponent in the playoffs. It's an even playing field. Records don't really matter. Everybody's there. You got one game, win or lose, all of that good stuff. But it's just kind of funny. Like, if we play the Giants, like, that's the quality of football team we're playing, where your running back gets a hole and then just drops the ball. You know what I mean? And I know the Bucs are no stranger there, but I just, that's why that's why getting the 5 seed was even more important today, because as much as I hate to say it, ahead of the playoffs, you're going to be playing teams like that.
Yeah, which is very true because, in reality, anybody else, once they got the first down, they would have laid down. They would have went straight to the ground and just said, okay, game over. For the fact that he hit the next cut and the ball just pops out his hand. No touch. Nobody touched him. That was crazy.
Yeah. So what else is on your mind, man? Anything else from the game today?
No, I mean, like I said, from me, you said I was at work, so, I had to try to find a way to watch the game. I ended up catching the second half of the game inside, muted because that's the only link I was able to find.
Right.
Find the game muted. So I kind of seen it, I seen like little updates here and there of the play where Mike Evans had got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go back and watch the video to see, what happened. And, so like I say, the first thing in my mind when I seen, the notification came to my watch and my phone that he got hurt, I was like, dang, did he get the 1,000 yards? So I ended up seeing that, yeah, he did get that.
Yeah, it was, it was great for Mike's sake and in the long run that he got the record. And I know that the Buccaneers had made it a big deal coming into the game this week. But I tell you this, man, I have not had like a 180 degrees of emotion during a Bucs game like that in a pretty long time, because it was like, that was crazy. It was just the moment of the year for me. The whole stadium was bumping. You saw it on the TV broadcast. Everybody's having a great time. And I mean, the very next play, literally all of the life was sucked out of the stadium. And I was talking to Evan, and, we're kind of talking about, like, how much life does this suck out of the team? Are they still going to be able to compete? Is the offense going to be rolling? Because to watch one of your best players go down like that immediately after a moment like the one that he had, like, it takes a little bit to recover from. And I think, and, ultimately these guys went out there and got the job done, but it was an insane moment. And, definitely thoughts and prayers going out to Mike Evans right now.
Yeah, and definitely, like, even like when you listen to the commentators and how they was broadcasting the game, he had the wide open hole, and so, like, even if you could have caught it with the touchdown too, would have made it seem better. Like, I hate, the fact of being injured, but being injured with the touchdown, how would I looked at differently. And the way that the ball just popped out, you could just see, like, he probably just let go because he was hurt, and it just, because the way that he had the ball in his hand, and then he just, like, let it fall. And it was just like, nah, I'm not even gonna try to catch this.
Man,
but
it was.
I do like that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna make a comment about the field conditions today, man. Like really, that's what caused Mike Evans' injury. Is he slipped a little bit on the field. Some of the turf in the end zone was torn up. And then I don't know if you were watching the game, but a little bit later, Brady was running off of the sideline into the huddle, and he damn near tripped and fell. And I thought he like tore his ACL running off the sideline. That was how bad it looked. But that field was out to get everybody today. It was ruthless, man. I think they really need to, consider rescheduling the Outback Bowl. Maybe not the day before an NFL game in the future, but it was crazy today. It was a weird game. You had the one guy run onto the field and hold everybody up. That was pretty kick ass. It was a strange time, but a Bucs win. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I said, Bruce Arians said it as well that, he said that both end zones just looked like it was sleep. But what I was going to say was, I did like the rest of it, how they tried to, give Antonio Brown a lot of more catches. I like how
Yeah.
they kept trying to incorporate him more in the game. I guess, like if there, is any chance that Evans does not play, they wouldn't give him at least, momentum going in. They're like, okay, now, you're here. We need you to be ready and play, let's go ahead and try different things with you. I kind of like that.
Oh, I definitely like that. Antonio Brown, 11 receptions, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns today. His biggest performance as a Buck, and he was the leading receiver on the team this week. Towards the end of the game, they were getting a little fancy with it, and it was some Antonio Brown end-arounds to kind of run out the clock on that last offensive series for Tampa Bay. But I think, the good thing about Antonio Brown, and this is almost common sense at this point, like I'm not really, breaking any news here, but Antonio Brown was the best wide receiver in the NFL for a pretty good chunk of time, and I have to imagine he has retained a whole lot of that. His performance this season is, warming up as he kind of finds his role in this offense, but I only have to imagine he's just going to have just as good of a game next week in the absence of Mike Evans. He's just another guy on that offense that you get the ball in his hands and he can make plays. I mean, I think 3 or 4 of his biggest plays today were off of a screen pass. Like, he is freakishly athletic. He fights for the yards, and very, very glad that he's on this Bucs football team right now of all times.
Yep, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Now, I hope they do a lot of that, for the game. But I'm going to let you go, man. Let you get another caller in. But definitely was a great game, and go Bucs.
Hell yeah, go Bucs, brother. Good to hear from you.
All right, man.
813-433-0323. Antonio Brown. I feel like 3 weeks ago we were talking about how he had inadvertently ruined this offense, and then he has the performance he does today. Got a call from the 484. Thank you for calling CFP. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's up, bud?
How you doing, my man?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Just basking in the
Just
victory.
Sort of starting it off. We're sort of starting it off like every CFP episode.
Oh.
Doing just fine. How are you?
What's going on, my man? How are you? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Too Legit to Quit. I don't have the music queued up, and if I do now, it'll be a little bit awkward. But yeah, Mr. Too Legit to Quit is in the building. Evan Wanish. Bucks win, brother.
Did you not know? Did you not know it was me?
No, I actually didn't. I saw the 484, and I don't know. I didn't put it together. I don't have your number saved on Skype.
Okay. Well, I mean, you just got to remember, most likely if it's a 484, it's going to be me.
You don't think we have any other Pennsylvania or Philly listeners that would have a 484 area code?
I mean, maybe, but
are we that much of amateurs?
I guess we're a bunch of local boys, I guess.
By the way, Buck, what you heard, my man Gene in the live chat. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Good to hear from you. And then Yol Smack, MMS Cafe, Jason Shaw still hanging out with us, and then BB as well. So Evan, let's get right down to brass tacks, buddy. You texted me like 3 times during this game, and you're like, the Bucks are gonna lose. At one point, you said this team is toast, and yeah, the rest of the game happened. So how are we feeling?
Well, I see. You want to point out that one part of the text, but you ignore the other part of the text. What was the other part of that text?
Tom Brady in this offense has to be perfect, and they went out there and they were perfect. So, I mean, I'm not mad at you. I'm just, I don't know. On more than one occasion, you told me this team was going to lose. Usually it's like one text a week saying that this team's going to lose.
Well, it's just the defense. Once they gave up that 3rd and 17, a touchdown there, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
That was inexcusable.
Yeah, I mean, it's one. Like I said, I tweeted it out. I said, a defense without Devin White, Shaq Barrett, and Carlton Davis, especially when they find out that all those guys are going to be like out the Friday before the game.
Yeah,
like it's going to struggle, but you still can't give up a touchdown on 3rd and 17. They were biting way hard on all the play action fakes, and I just didn't have any confidence in the defense. Yeah, I mean the Bucs offense had to keep it a 2-score game the entire time. Because if the Falcons got the ball back and they were only down a little bit, I think they would have ended up taking the lead.
Yeah. TK09 in the live chat says, so is the Philly Bucs fan going to root for Philly tonight?
I mean, I guess the more favorable matchup is the Giants, because in my opinion, just because I mean the Giants' defense is good. Like they're not like a bad unit, but I think the Washington unit is much better, especially along the defensive line. But we'll have to see. And well, I mean, I remember saying a few weeks ago, I would rather, if you're just talking about quarterbacks, I might rather play Daniel Jones rather than any of those other quarterbacks in the NFC East. So, I mean, I think right now you got to be looking at the Giants as a more favorable matchup, but the Eagles are resting a ton of their starters, so I'm going to guess that Washington ends up winning. They have Alex Smith in the game, so I'm going to guess that they end up winning, and that's who the Bucs will play. But
yeah. Another thing in the live chat people wanted to get your 2 cents on is the Mike Evans situation. Have you heard any further updates from Bruce Arians saying that it might not be as bad as we think? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I don't have anything else other than what Arians said. I initially thought it might have been an ACL. After looking at it a little bit more, I was like, that's probably not an ACL. And I think it was just maybe like a hyperextension of the knee or of the leg of some sort, which may, I mean, it's much better than an ACL. But the ACL would be he's done. But a hyperextension might mean he misses next week. I don't know. I think they're going to try to put him out there. Obviously, Mike Evans is going to want to go.
Yeah.
He's going to want to play, but just don't know, like, are you really doing your team a service or a disservice by being out there when you're, only really maybe 40%, 50% health? I mean, or, are you really doing your team that much of a service? I mean, I look at the Chicago game. He was in no place to play, and Arians still played him, and Arians said that he really regretted playing him in that game, and that's why I think obviously it's a playoff, so it's a much different situation. But I don't know if they're going to exactly rush him, but I don't believe it's an ACL. So that's the good news. I don't think it's extremely serious. It's not going to be anything that'll keep him out. Like if the Bucs end up winning a playoff game, I don't think, there's no coming back. I think he could come back the next week, but I don't know. I have my doubts that he's going to play next week.
Now, based off of the show that the offense put on today, what is your trust level in what Tom Brady can do without 13 on the field? Because today, I think they proved to just about everybody that they can definitely get the job done with a healthy dose of Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think part of it was facing the Atlanta Falcons' terrible passing defense. Washington and New York both have better passing defenses, so it's not going to be that simple. But I have full confidence in Tom Brady. I mean, you of all people should know that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have full confidence in him. It seemed like the offense sort of got a little shell shocked when Evans went down. They kind of. The Evans drops that touchdown. The next 2 throws are basically throwaways, and end up settling for a field goal. And then they score a touchdown. But then after that, they settled for 2 more field goals instead of touchdowns. And it seemed like they were sort of starting to slow down. And then they were able to punch it in with Ronald Jones. But I mean, I'm confident. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be putting up 40 points on Washington or New York next week. So I don't think you should expect that. But I mean, I think there's no way you can't be confident. Antonio Brown's looked really good. Chris Godwin's looked really good. And what did we say? What did I text you during the game? I mean, that's exactly why you signed Antonio Brown. That was basically the purpose of why they signed Antonio Brown. It was a rare opportunity to get one of the best receivers in the NFL at a cheap discounted rate, and it was always an insurance policy. And now that insurance policy is going to be huge, especially if they can come out. If Evans doesn't play and Brown comes out and has a big game next week and they win, I mean, yeah, I'd be looking at that signing as a huge win. So I do think that it was a big-time insurance policy. It turned out to be a really smart move by the Bucs, even though I remember at the time I called it, like unnecessary. But I think as far as confidence goes, I think you have to be confident. This offense is still protecting the football very well. I know that they had that one takeaway. That was a fluke takeaway. But
it's shit like that only happens to Tampa.
It shouldn't count. Like it shouldn't count as a Brady
always
interception.
Will happen.
Yeah, well, remember the Saints game last year when O.J. Howard behind the back, and I was like, man, Jameis. I was like, man, like that's. And then they had the one where it hit the Saints defender in the back, and then it popped up in the air, and he intercepted. I was like, that is two of the unluckiest interceptions I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it happened again today. Luckily, it didn't kill him. Yeah, I mean, like I said, though, I feel like they have full confidence, and with a full game plan, a full weekly game plan, I should say. I think maybe you could see guys like Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, Tyler Johnson, Scotty Moore, like guys like that. They could get involved a little bit more if the Bucs know they're not going to have Mike Evans. So we'll see what happens. But Arians said they'll know more in 24 hours on Evans' status. Obviously, it changes a lot, but I still think they'll be fine.
Now, we've shown a lot of praise to the quarterback, the wide receivers, even a little bit of the defense, but another guy I wanted to talk about who looks like he is more than ready for the postseason, Ronald Jones, man, 12 carries, which, isn't as much as a lot of people were expecting, but with him coming off of that broken pinky, I think it was to be expected he would be getting a little bit less, but he did everything he needed to with those 12 carries, 78 yards and a touchdown, average 6.5 yards per carry. He was looking awesome today.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the lack of reps for Jones had more to do with maybe the broken finger than anything. I think it was more of a not a conditioning issue with him missing the last two games. I don't think that was an issue. I just think that they didn't want to risk. They had already had Mike Evans down in the game. Do you want to risk Ronald Jones, somebody hitting it with the helmet and it re-breaks or something happens to it?
Yeah.
Did you really want to risk that and lose him? I don't know. So, Leonard Fournette wasn't horrible. It really went away from him in the second half. He didn't really show up too much. But the biggest issue I had with Fournette was right before the half when he caught the ball and he decided to cut up field instead of going out of bounds, which is just so dumb. But whatever, it is what it is. The Bucs ended up kicking a field goal.
Maybe I think maybe just like adrenaline took over there, and he wanted the hit. Because I mean,
maybe he thought he could power his way, just get the first down.
Right.
Smart play would have been and I'm sure in the film room they'll look at that, and the running backs coach or Bruce Arians, somebody will say to him, next time you get this, run out of bounds. But and I mean, I thought Jones ran hard. It seemed like he was really running with a purpose.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that he didn't get to 1,000 yards and they had the chance to. But I understand them wanting to get Antonio Brown involved in the offense. So I was fine with that. I didn't really have much of an issue with that. But I thought Jones ran hard, and it'll be interesting to see what their game plan is on Sunday. If it is against Washington, Washington's a very good run defense team. Their defensive line is. It speaks for itself. I mean, Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, De'Aaron Payne, Matt Ioannidis. I mean, they got a lot of players on that defensive line, and it'll be a tough test. But Jones seems like he's healthy, seems like he's ready to go, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, now in the live chat, there were a couple of people talking about the situation with free agency this year. The Buccaneers have a lot of tables, Jesus. They have a lot of players on the table that they have to kind of decide what they want to do with, and some of those guys included... our buddy Deafening Silence says, come off season, can we retain OJ, Mike, Chris Godwin, along with Gronk? Who do you think is the best bet to get franchise tagged, and who do you think takes a pay cut? So with the slew of free agents that the Buccaneers have this offseason, some of the bigger names are the guys he just mentioned. I wanted to say that I think the most likely one to get franchise tagged is going to be Chris Godwin. But when it comes to those other guys, O.J. Howard is an interesting name because you kind of have to wonder that if anybody's going to take a pay cut, I have to imagine it's him if the Buccaneers do decide to keep him around. But what are your thoughts on that situation?
Yeah, so obviously O.J. Howard just got his fifth-year option picked up by the Bucs, so he's back for next year. He's not a free agent. Mike Evans could be a restructure case. Maybe he takes a pay cut to save a little bit of money. But I do agree with you. I think Chris Godwin ends up getting the franchise tag, and for good reason. I don't think he's going to go anywhere this year, this offseason. So, I mean, I saw Trevor Sikkema tweet out, if you see any free agent projection posts and they're projecting, Chris Godwin to be anywhere else, it's just a waste of time because there's no way that the Bucs, at least not this offseason, there's no way that the Bucs are letting him go. So I think the Bucs would like to get a long-term deal done, but I just think that Chris Godwin's probably going to be looking for a lot of money on a long-term deal, and I think the best thing might just be, franchise him for 1 year, see what you have, see who the quarterback is after next year, see where the team's at, and then go from there. As far as Gronkowski goes, he's at $9.5 million, I think, this year.
Yeah,
I think he'll be back. It's either he's back or he retires.
I think he's here as long as Tom is here, to be honest. And then once Tom's done, he's done too.
Yeah, he's made it clear that he will not play for any other quarterback, and I do think that he'll be back, but I don't think it'll be at $9 million. I think it might be about half of that or so. So maybe around $4 million, $4.5 million, something like that. I think that's what you could see. But as far as those guys, I think Mike Evans is the most logical to take a pay cut or a restructure. They've been doing it a lot with him. Ali Marpet's another guy they can restructure. Then the two non-guaranteed contracts are Ryan Jensen and Donovan Smith. I don't think Jensen's going anywhere. I think they want to open up a hole at center. But Donovan Smith, maybe he goes. Maybe they say, hey, take a pay cut or you're gone, and we'll see what happens there. But as far as the weapons go, I think most of these weapons are going to be intact. This is going to be pretty much the same offense next year, minus Antonio Brown. I don't think Brown will be back, but pretty much the big pieces, I think, are mostly going to be back.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to talk about some of the pieces on the defense other people are bringing up as well. You got some more guys on that list. Shaq Barrett, who's just coming off of the franchise tag year, who didn't even get 10 sacks this year. So, do you think he settles for a modest contract? You've got Ndamukong Suh, kind of a question mark. Levante still an option, but I think Levante stays no matter what. What are your thoughts on the defensive side?
Yeah, he's not going to go anywhere. That's a pretty quick one. So Levante David's not going nowhere. Now, Ndamukong Suh, I think, is another case where it's either retirement or it's back in Tampa. I think he likes it here. He feels a fit in Todd Bowles' system. I think that he enjoys playing in the system. He enjoys his teammates. He likes the city of Tampa. I mean, he's getting $8 million this year. I don't know if he's going to get $8 million again. I personally would, if he's asking for $8 million, I'd be like, okay, you can retire. I don't think he's worth $8 million again, but something maybe like a half of that, maybe 4 or 3.5, something like that, to come back and be a veteran on the defensive line. I think it's fair for Suh, but I do think that it's either retirement or I think those are the two guys, Suh and Gronkowski, where it's either retirement or it's back to Tampa. I don't think they're going to be hitting the market. As far as Barrett goes, that's the tricky one. I think all the other ones are pretty easy, except that one. That is the tricky one because I don't see a way you can give him a long-term deal with big-time money for per year. That'd be stupid, in my opinion. But you don't know what he's going to be asking for. But he says his asking price is going to have to come down. Whatever it was, it'll have to come down. I understand 19.5 sacks a year ago, but you ain't getting $18, $19, $20 million a year anymore. You're more maybe in the range of $12, $13 million a year now. So does he ask for maybe say, hey, let's do a 1-year deal at $10 million? I think the Bucs would probably say, all right, come back. I think obviously they would like to do maybe a long-term deal at like $10 million, but don't know if Barrett would like that. So I think Barrett's agent might want to almost put him on another franchise tag without actually put him on the franchise tag. So I don't know. Barrett's a tricky one. Of all the free agents, I think Barrett is the most likely to be on a different team next year, just because it's very tricky.
Yeah. Now, I will say something somebody else brought up in the live chat, and I wanted to kind of echo it because I agreed with it. And Ndamukong Suh, I really feel like if he stays, they're going to pay him a little bit more in the neighborhood of whatever he wants, because I don't think there's any disputing that he went way above expectations this year. I mean, he is having probably one of the better years of his career in the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 seasons. It feels like he really has stepped up this year, and I don't know. I think if there's a guy that the Buccaneers pay a little bit more than they should, I guess it would be Sue. But at the end of the day, dude, I don't really care what these guys make. It's just about whether they want to be here or not, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at the end, but what I'm looking at is a 34, 35-year-old defensive lineman who is, has regressed a little bit. He has had a nice year this year. I'll give him that. I was wrong. I said that the Bucs shouldn't have re-signed him. I said it was a mistake to re-sign him. But year 2 has definitely been better than year 1. But I just think that at the end of the day, you're looking at a 35-year-old, 34-year-old defensive lineman who is going to be faced. I mean, if the Bucs know that this dude is either going to return to Tampa or retire, if they get that intel, or like his agent or himself hints at that, the Bucs aren't going to pay him, $8 million. They're going to be like, okay, well, we'll offer you this, or you can not play.
Yeah.
If you remember last year on the free agent market, Sue sat on the free agent market for like a week and a half, 2 weeks before re-signing with Tampa. So that meant that his league interest wasn't all that high. So I think that if you were to say, all right, well, I think I'm going to lean towards retirement if you guys don't offer me this, but I'm going to hit the market, I think Tampa puts an offer out there for $4 to $5 million for 1 year and says, hey, if you want to come back, here it is. We're not giving you any more than this. And I think he would probably end up taking it. But, you're not wrong because they did it before. I mean, they give him 9.5, I think, year 1. That was the 1-year deal. And then this year they gave him 8. So they've done it before, but I just don't know. I don't think he deserves $8 million. Solid player, but not an $8 million player to me anymore, especially with the Bucs cap crunch.
Now, in a situation where Ndamukong Suh ends up walking, he retires, whatever the case may be, if he's not with Tampa Bay anymore, there are a lot of defensive tackles I think they can target in the draft. Would you rather them look at an early round D tackle? Would you rather them look at free agency for a replacement? Because, you still do have Vita Vea there. Like, how do you address that position if Suh is no longer a Buck next season?
It's tricky because, without me having a list of the available free agents this year, I know who's in the draft, and it's a deep class and interior defensive line, but you got to think the Bucs are going to be picking in the later part of the first round now. So it's not like, you're going to be getting this elite prospect. Obviously you get lucky, but you can't count on that. It's tricky. It really is. So if Sue's gone, I personally think they need to get more youth. So my first 3 picks in the draft would be, in no particular order, would be offensive tackle, outside linebacker, basically an edge rusher, and then interior defensive lineman. No particular order. Just those would be the 3. Whether it's, I don't care. You can mix and match the order however you want. That's what I think needs to be their first 3 picks. So if Suh does walk or retire, I expect them to sign a free agent. Not really maybe a high profile one, but I don't think they would just ignore it. Especially like for depth purposes, I think they would sign somebody. Yeah. But it would be interesting to see. But I do think eventually, you're going to need some youth along that defensive line, and I think that's where obviously you're going to have to look to the draft.
I got you for sure, man. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to cover from the game today? Is there anything sticking out to you? Anything you wanted to tease about the podcast we're doing tomorrow? Like what's on your mind, boss man?
No, not really about the game. I'll save that stuff for the podcast tomorrow. We might have a guest coming on who I think could share some decent insight about the game. But
somebody who was in the stadium today.
Yeah, well, yeah. Without giving away too much, I don't want to say anything, because, just wait and see tomorrow, and we'll have the Monday show, and then coming up this week, it's crazy. Our first ever playoff game preview is going to be coming out. So
that's insane, man. This is the time of year that these last 3 seasons we've been like, oh, what's the deal with the head coaching position? Maybe not last year, but I know we normally did our Black Monday stream, and it was always, a whole lot of roster moves and a whole lot of staff moves within the first 48 hours of that last regular season game. So a welcome change this year for sure.
It's kind of going to get like boring, right? You're just like, tomorrow's Monday and you're just like, oh, nothing's happening. All right. But I mean, typically in typical years, a year or two of a coach's term with Tampa, you'd be talking about, okay, well, he's probably done. This year it's much different. So no, not really much. Just hope you guys, have enjoyed the show this year. It's been a great year for the show, great year for all of us, and we're obviously not going nowhere, as the Bucs are not going anywhere either. So stay tuned.
Absolutely, Evan. It was good hearing from you, my friend. I'm looking forward to the show tomorrow and hopefully hammering down that guest.
All right,
buddy. Mr. Too Legit to Quit, ladies and gentlemen, and TK in the live chat. Sorry, buddy. With our Skype setup, we can only take callers like one at a time. Like I can't add other people. So whenever Evan calls in, usually it's just me and him, and then you got to settle for me answering your questions. I apologize. But a 44-27 victory for the Buccaneers. They finish 11-5, their best record in however many years. It's been way too long, but we'll probably take a handful more phone calls here if you guys want. So we kind of wrap things up here today. 813-433-0323. Shout out to our people in the live chat. G Vegas hanging out with us. Rocco Sharipa? Yeah. Kevin522. G Vegas again. Kendall Haynes. Or Kendall Haynes, I believe. Sorry about that. NMS Cafe Catet. I think that's what it is, right? I don't know. Let's take this phone call. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hi, my name's Madanch, and I'm calling from Cali.
What's going on, my man? How you doing out there on the West Coast?
I'm doing good. The weather's different, but it is what it is. Obviously, I called for the Bucs. So I had a question just about the defense. I know we were missing pieces, but does the defense still kind of worry you? Because my only thing about the defense is if we don't get pressure, the corners are so young that they start to bite on so many things, like how they bit on the play action so many times today.
Yeah.
Does that worry you at all going into the playoffs, going against like an Aaron Rodgers or like a Russell Wilson, Breeze?
I definitely think a lack of pressure can be concerning. Getting Devin White back will getting Shaq Barrett back will certainly help. I know Devin White's still kind of 50-50 depending on when the Buccaneers get scheduled. But I think pressure is just what wins you games on the defensive side of the ball. Like you had mentioned, our corners are really young, and they definitely let the game get away from them sometimes. And even if it's not getting beat on the deep ball, it seems like if there's no pressure and the quarterback has more than a couple of seconds and he's able to find that dump route to the running back 5 yards upfield, and then they somehow turn it into a 20, 25, 30-yard gain, that's what eats this defense alive. So a lack of pressure, or even just a lack of, finishing it, because they were disrupting the pocket today. They just weren't hitting home. And, with Matt Ryan giving him a little bit of extra time, he's going to make those plays. So as you look closer to the playoffs, yes, I think the lack of a true pass rush like we saw today can be concerning. But if you get Devin White back, I think that concern definitely goes away. Even with Shaq Barrett back, you got to feel a little bit better about it. But, yeah, that's a great point. Like, if there's one thing I really have to kind of gripe on from the performance today was the pressure on the quarterback, because it didn't seem like there was a lot to start the game.
Yeah. I have one more question going into the playoffs for the running back position. We all know Ron Jones is going to be our first running back, but do we start, I believe his name is Keyshawn Vaughn, do we play him over Leonard Fournette, or do you think we stick with Leonard Fournette for the playoffs and just rely on Keyshawn Vaughn next season going into his second season?
I think in the playoffs, depending on how these games go, it'll be a game time situation, but I really think you see more shady LaShawn McCoy than you do Keyshawn Vaughn, just because of the experience factor. Keyshawn Vaughn being a rookie, not really having that playoff experience like Shady and Fournette have. Rojo's definitely your running back one, but I think we'll still see a situation where Fournette's your running back two, and then a healthy dose of I forgot his damn name. Shady. I'm trying to remember his first name. I'm drawing a blank here. It's LaShawn McCoy. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I don't know what's wrong with me, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't think we see Vaughn in the playoffs, but with Leonard Fournette probably not sticking around in Tampa after next season, I think, next year he'll definitely have an improved role because he can definitely catch the ball out of the backfield and he's a pretty damn good runner here and there. So, if the Bucs part ways with Shady or even part ways at Leonard Fournette, I think that almost opens the door for Keyshawn Vaughn to get a much bigger role.
Yeah, I just think with Leonard Fournette, people talking about him struggling, I don't know if it's completely him struggling. I just think it's also somewhat like how good Rojo is, because Rojo's going through the hole the same way, and he's getting an extra 4 to 5 yards, and Leonard Fournette's hitting that same hole, but he's getting stopped. I just think that shows how good Ronald Jones is over just Leonard Fournette being bad.
Yeah, and it's hard to say that Leonard Fournette's a bad running back. He's just the type of running back where you have to really feed him the ball. You have to get him going. You have to get the ball in his hands. He is a guy who thrives on 20 to 25 touches a game, and the Bucs just don't do that with their running backs, especially when you have a rotation like we saw today. Ronald Jones had 12 carries. I think Fournette had less than 10, but he definitely wasn't doing very much with those carries. So, the contrast in styles there, I definitely think comes into play, but I just think Rojo is much more explosive coming out of the gate, and you can rest him for a drive and throw him back in there, and he's still going to average over 5 yards per carry. So I think that's just the big difference.
I think if we use Rojo would be used more as picking up the blitzes on those key downs, because he is very good at that, picking up the blitz.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the best running back the Bucs have at picking up the blitz, a lot of people won't believe this, but dude, LaShawn McCoy is really good at picking up the blitz in the pocket. He had a couple of good games these last few weeks. He had that one game where I think he had 4 or 5 carries for 30 plus yards, which was pretty damn impressive. So I think LaShawn McCoy in a healthy third down back situation, I like him a lot. I know that he kind of had the slump and then he just didn't play at all for a month and a half, but him in this offense on third down, in the pocket protecting Tom Brady, any one of those running backs can do it, but I think the best one, without a doubt, is Shady.
Yeah, I don't want to take any more of your time, so thank you for having me. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bucs, and I can't wait for your playoff stream.
Hey, thanks, man. It was good to hear from you, brother. Thanks for your support, and go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
813-433-0323. We had a caller from the 727. If you want to try one more time, I only know a handful of callers from the 727, and one of them might be the guy that's late to everything. But I'll take 1 or 2 more phone calls. Here we go. Can't Fire Podcast, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
What's up, Captain? How you doing?
Oh, there he is, late as usual. How you doing, buddy?
You know what? It's the meme of 2021. I'm good, man. How you doing? Just hanging out.
I am doing really good. I am happy. We spent most of the stream today talking about just this game in Week 17, but this is the first time in a very, very long time that, not only the Bucs are playing in the postseason, but the first time the Bucs have finished a regular season. And it just feels like you can exhale and feel good about where the team is right now. It seems like every single year we kind of have conversations about where do the Bucs go from here? Who's going to get fired? What's going to happen at this position? And yeah, we still have free agents to talk about, but the stability of this Bucs team, finishing 11-5 over a season that definitely had its ups and downs, it is a damn good feeling. And all of it's tied off because I had predicted them to go 11-5 before the season began. But it's just a good feeling, and I'm really trying to take it all in. You know what I mean?
Bro, yeah, we got it right. We both said 11-5.
Yeah, me and Evan. I'm pretty sure everybody had different ways of how they would get there. I definitely didn't, I didn't predict them getting swept by New Orleans, but I didn't predict them sweeping Atlanta either. So, you got to take the good with the bad. But, 11-5, dude, you got to be happy with it.
Dude, yeah, it feels awesome because I was just sitting there thinking about it earlier today, and I was like, while it is interesting to see ooh, what's the team gonna do? It's also stressful too because it's oh God, can we finally get somebody who's gonna bring us a winning record? And it's now we don't got to worry about that because we already have a winning record. We're already in the playoffs.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about, maybe a new head coach or new players at a certain position, trying to still figure it out and get it right. The expectation for this year for a lot of people was Super Bowl, and it still is at this point, obviously. But, a lot of people kind of discounted this team coming into the year, said they'd be 8-8, 9-7, even 10-6. I think winning 4 in a row to finish up the season helps a lot going into the playoffs, and I feel so much better about this team and maybe the potential noise they can make in the playoffs. You look at all the elements, man. It's Tom freaking Brady in the playoffs, and with the way that this team has been playing, with the way that Tom's been playing over these last 4 games, it really is just like it's the most comfortable I've ever been in January talking about Tampa Bay football.
One of my favorite things that I remember just recently, I remembered I saw somebody say on Twitter, something along the somebody asked him for a stat prediction for Tom Brady, how he was going to do in year 1 of Bruce Arians' offense, and he said like 26 touchdowns, I think, or 24 touchdowns and like 16 interceptions, and this was still very fresh off of moving on from another quarterback and all these things. Right. And I remember that the person was saying like, well, quarterbacks struggle in year 1 of Arians' offense, right? So Brady's going to struggle, and look what happened.
I mean, 12 interceptions for Tom is not a highlight year by any means, but it's completely overshadowed by 40 touchdowns, and just the fact that you were able to cut your turnover differential in half from last season at the quarterback position. It really is just, it was the improvement that this team needed, and it was definitely something that went a little bit beyond my expectations. Like, it was easy for people to say that, Tom has so many weapons in Tampa, he's going to throw for 40-plus touchdowns this year and all that stuff, but, again, you do have to be realistic about it, and you have to look at it and say, well, it is the first year in Bruce Arians' offense. They're going to be building chemistry. There is no preseason. There is no training camp. So, for Tom Brady to go out there and do what he did, 40 touchdowns and only 12 picks, I'll say that 2 of those weren't really his fault, so 10 picks on the year. I mean, that is just, the best statistical season Brady has had in a really long time. And I mean, to go out there and shatter the records that Jameis had set last year for the single season touchdown record, it's definitely not what I expected right off of the rip when signing Tom Brady. I knew we'd get a game manager. I knew we would get a guy that wouldn't turn the ball over, but I did not think we would get a guy that at 43 years old was going to go out there and toss 40 TDs.
Me and you both think alike, man. We're both like, I would say, more optimistic than others, in terms of like our thought process and stuff. Doesn't it feel good to like think optimistically and then it actually panned out?
Right. And G Vegas in the live chat, he says, if 40 touchdowns and 12 interceptions is learning the BA system in the first season, just imagine what the next year is going to be. It really is a good problem to have for the Bucs, and it's a spectacle in itself because, as we've mentioned so many times and everybody hears about, Tom Brady being who he is and the age that he is just it's never going to happen again. Like, that's the magic in it, is that the Buccaneers are doing great and our team is doing well for the first time in forever, but James, unless they start, legally juicing these guys sometime in the near future, I don't think we'll ever see a 40-plus-year-old quarterback throw 40 TDs.
Unless they're on that TB12 method, man,
Right.
That's the only way. Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to say too was, every year I remember. I mean, I'm sure you felt the same way. We're as a content creator, like it kind of sucked. Like after today, usually after today, Rhett, we would sit there and go, okay, well, now we got to think of what content we're going to make for the next month while playoff football's going on. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Because it's not like you can talk about other playoff games on your Buccaneers content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember I would always have problems where it'd be like, okay, well, I can only make so many potential who are the Bucs going to hire as their head coach. What are the Bucs going to do? By the time the actual off season came around, I would already ran out of potential scenarios. You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean,
You
hell,
know?
man, on top of all that, like it gives you a more steady stream of content. You don't have to make stuff up, but it's almost like
Exactly.
it's almost like it makes the 8 months of waiting for the next season a little bit shorter, you know?
Exactly. So it feels so good now to actually be able to, okay, well, the regular season's over. Now we can make playoff content. And it's like, oh my God, thank goodness.
This is, I have to imagine, because both of us were incredibly young, but this is the first time in both of our content creating careers, say that 5 times fast, but the first time in our content creating careers that we've done postseason stuff. So it's a crazy time, but I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because it's been like around 5 years for both of us.
Yeah, this is our 4th season as Cannon Fire Podcast. This is our 5th season as a podcast. Me and Evan did we did a sports podcast that was all sports for one season, but it wasn't Bucks.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I know I started my YouTube channel when I was a senior in high school, so there was nothing going on then. So that's this is definitely the first time. I mean, Jesus, we could have started 10 years ago and we still wouldn't have had content, but
isn't that
content,
insane?
but,
like, doesn't that blow your mind?
Yeah, it was funny which I mean, everybody in the live chat right now, if y'all want to put this, that'd be interesting. And in one of my videos recently, over at Mr. Bucks Nation, by the way, if you can go check that out, if you want to go check that out on YouTube. But I said at the beginning of one of my videos, I just asked people, like, how old were you whenever the Bucks last made the playoffs? And, I was so shocked to see how many people who were like, I wasn't even born yet, or like people just be like, 1 or 2 years old. It was really interesting. Just like people who have like not experienced Bucks playoff football before ever, they weren't even like, conscious for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the live chat. We spent a lot of time talking about Tom Brady. Well, we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about his game, because a big concern about halfway through the season was the deep ball. It seemed like after the Raiders game, there was a stretch of games where the deep ball for Tampa Bay just kind of disappeared. It wasn't really working. Tom wasn't doing that great. The stats were not good. And something clicked a couple of weeks ago, and he has absolutely just been throwing dimes. He has, figured the timing out on this offense, and he's finally connecting with his big receivers down the field who can make plays. So, what do you make of that? Like his ability to just kind of bounce back and get better, because last season, normally right around playoff time, he would start to slow down a little bit, and not necessarily play bad football. He would slow down. You know what I mean? Like it was that time of the year. He's been playing for however many weeks. So it's what we saw, but now, he's hotter than ever. 4 games in a row, hitting the deep ball like a champion. What do you make of all that?
Yeah, dude. Well, we saw that last year as the most recent example with his final year in New England, where it was kind of like, he just didn't look like the usual Tom, and with the Patriots offense and everything going on there, with all that stuff, with the lack of weapons, I think, too, was just kind of like, he was just playing off a little bit, and then in that playoff game, obviously things didn't end well. I think the big difference is now he's just kind of getting the timing down with all of his guys, and he's got that chemistry down with guys like Godwin, I mean, especially Evans, and he already had it with Antonio Brown before they even came to Tampa.
Yeah.
And what was interesting too is, I mean, of all the people, right, I think he had it with Scotty probably earlier than anybody, so I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is that chemistry. We both talk about it every week, where it's just like, Tom's just got to keep on playing. He's got to keep on working with that chemistry and figuring things out. And now it's like, okay, well, he's starting to figure things out now. They're both the wide receivers and Tom Brady are starting to get into that rhythm, and it's like, now you can see what happens. That's what I think the big key is there. Is just the overall timing and chemistry between the wide receivers and the quarterback just being on that communication level.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any better time that they could have figured it out, as they head red hot into the wild card weekend next week. So as of right now, as of this recording, this live stream, whenever you're listening to this, as of right now, We don't know who the Bucs are going to play for sure. It's either going to be the Giants, who beat the Cowboys, or it's going to be Washington, who plays a little bit later tonight. I was probably going to wrap up the show here in the next few minutes, but James, one last thing I wanted to get your 2 cents on is, at this point, I have to assume that you kind of want the Giants matchup a little bit better, but what way are you leaning for the Buccaneers playoff opponent?
Oh, I'd say Giants. And I don't even think it's that hard of a decision. When I was doing the live stream today, I had said, I got asked the same question, where it's like, who would you rather play between the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Washington football team? And I said, well, Giants number 1, then Cowboys, then the Washington football team. And I saw a lot of Patriots fans, understandably so, say, oh, hell no. Not the Giants, please. Because Tom Brady versus the Giants past couple of times did not go very well. But Eli Manning's not there anymore. It's Daniel Jones. People forget that the Bucs played the Giants this year and beat them.
It was ugly. That's why it was forgettable.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like, that's when they were playing bad. And now they're on a streak where they just scored 40 points in a row, 40 points 2 games in a row. I mean, they're on fire right now.
I think I heard a stat towards the end of the broadcast today. This is like the first Buccaneers offense in history to average a little over 30 points a game.
Yeah, and they played and beat this same Giants team, who has not gotten any new players, by the way. If anything, they may be down another player or two. And they still beat them when they were playing their ugly middle of the season football, and now they're back on track. In fact, it's the best. This past month is the best they've looked all season. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to
at least on the offensive side of the football.
So we got a call from the 561. I hit merge call, and I don't know if they're in here, but if they are, thanks for calling CFP. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. So
what up?
I'm thinking about the future, and if Trask falls to Tampa in the draft, I know this is thinking about the future, but would you take Kyle Trask out of Florida?
If he's there, I would take him. Personally, I don't think the Bucs would get him without trading up. I don't know if they'll get any of those stud quarterbacks without trading up, and if they wanted to, they'd have to give up a lot. But if he is there, like if any of those guys are there, I would do it. Just because you definitely are thinking of the future, but I mean, I don't know. What do you think, James?
I'm Max, but
well, I got James, Mr. Bucks Nation on the line as well.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No,
yeah,
you're good.
No, so I've thought about this, right? And like me personally, if there was a quarterback there where it's like, like I don't think, like a Trey Lance or a Trask or something like that. If I was the Bucs, I would take him. But I feel like the Bucs organization, I don't think they would. And the reason I think that is because I still think that they're thinking, okay, not even thinking about how far they may or may not go in the playoffs this year, but they're still thinking like, we still have Tom Brady for one more year. Should we really use a first round pick on a quarterback when we could use it to get another pass rusher or another offensive lineman who can, help out the team as a whole, you know what I mean? And just really help out the Bucs win even more games with Tom Brady, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. I also saw an interesting stat that Sam Ehlinger just entered the draft, and he's supposed to fall to the 4th round, so I wouldn't mind taking him to learn after Brady if he's still there that late.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, James.
I would say, I would say if anything, if they do decide to take a quarterback, I would say later rounds, if anything, is kind of that guy who can, again, like another guy who could still learn behind Brady, but you're not like putting in, crazy high tier draft capital into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
All right, boss man, any other thoughts or stuff you wanted to talk about from the game today?
No, I'm just really excited to see the Bucs play in the playoffs. It's been a long time coming.
Hell yeah, dude. It's been definitely a long time coming, and a first for a lot of people who've been watching this team for however many years. But it is a strange feeling. It is a welcome feeling, and I'm pretty damn excited about it. So it was good to hear from you, my man. Appreciate you supporting the show.
And also, can I add one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
If the Bucs end up playing the Giants, that's the team that eliminated us the last time we were in the playoffs, and that was at the Ray J. So
Yeah.
it'd be kind of interesting. And they went on to win that Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah, they went on to beat Tom Brady.
So if things are reversed, things might be, I don't know, something to look at.
Yeah, the football gods work in mysterious ways, but the storylines definitely write themselves. That's what you got to love about sports. But really appreciate you calling in, my man. I'm going to go ahead and let you go so we can get to some other callers before we wrap things up. But good hearing from you, and go Bucks.
I got you. Yes, sir.
All right, I think, James, are you still here with me?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here with you.
Hell yeah. All right, so we got a voicemail.
Ooh,
from an
exciting.
unknown person. So I guess they star 69'd. They're probably going to talk about how bad we are. They've called before. Let's see.
Perhaps.
Hey there, I have my own Popper YouTube page. It has over 23 million hits, and I'm putting out different subjects out there to have, guests on my program, or vice versa, I go on their program. Since you're doing a sports show, I had a sports subject for you, if you're interested. If you're not, no hard feelings. My subject is why Michael Jordan fans are the worst NBA fans, and why Michael Jordan is not the number one NBA player of all time. 2 subjects. If you're interested, send me an email. Let's set something up. If you're not interested, again, no hard feelings. And my email is water@galaxyhit.com. Again, water@galaxyhit.com. One of my YouTube pages, it's not my only one, it's one of them, is literally titled Michael Jordan Fans Are the Worst NBA Fans. And again, Michael Jordan fans are the worst NBA fans. And that's one of my pages. And thank you. Stay safe.
What the fuck? James,
Now,
did you hear that?
I want you to know I did not hear a single word of that.
Dude, so this guy called me and he's like, "Hey, I noticed you're doing a sports show. And I have a little sports show of my own, and I just wanted to let you know that Michael Jordan fans are the worst, and Michael Jordan is not the greatest of all time in basketball. So if you want to talk about this subject in particular, why don't you shoot me an email and come on my show?" That was the last thing I ever expected that voicemail to be, dude.
Oh, well, okay. That's what you guys show up to a Bucks live stream for, is to talk about Michael Jordan in the NBA.
Yeah, sure. He left us a voicemail back in October, and I guarantee you hold on, let me listen to this one. Oh, it's corrupted. It doesn't want to play. That sucks. Yeah, that's weird, dude. I don't know if he was watching the show and was like, maybe this guy wants to talk about Michael Jordan. I don't know. I definitely appreciate you looking for my input, but that was pretty funny.
That's certainly a detour that I don't think we have time to take today.
Yeah, I definitely don't think so either. James, I appreciate you jumping on with me, man. It was good hearing your perspective. Is there anything else you want to say or promote or anything else you want to talk about before I let you
go? Yeah, just actually had some cool news today. We actually broke a channel record today.
Oh, hell yeah. What happened?
The most people we had in a live stream today. We broke the record.
What was the record, and what is the new one?
The old record was 794. The new record is 1,111.
Look at you go, my man. That is awesome. I want to say that we peaked about... I want to say our channel record is about 800 or 900 for the Antonio Brown live stream. So I don't know if we've ever broken 1,000 concurrents. If anybody in here knows, let me know. But that's kick-ass, dude. I'm really glad.
Yeah, because I feel like you guys might have had over 1,000 for the Antonio Brown one, because that one went crazy.
We might have, man. I don't remember. If anybody was here, I know Kendall was in there. I'm pretty sure G Vegas was in that stream. A lot of people hanging out in the live chat are pretty regular viewers of the show. So if you guys remember, let me know. But either way, a pretty damn good feat. And yeah, that's awesome stuff, brother.
Heck yeah, man. And I'm just excited for us to finally talk about some playoffs.
Yeah, right.
So that'll be fun.
Hell yeah.
That'll be fun.
I'm looking forward to it, my man. Yeah, Mr. Bucks Nation on YouTube. If you guys want to go check out James and his great content, all sorts of awesome stuff coming out every single week. I think you can find him on social media. I think he's active mostly on Twitter at Mr. Bucks Nation. But this live chat's going crazy, man. Everybody's talking about Kobe and.
Oh yeah, they're going crazy. Oh my gosh. All right, well, I'm gonna get out of here.
put a screeching halt to the show.
He blew it up. All right, man. Wait, I'm gonna dip out of here. Good job on the live stream, and I will talk to you later.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Likewise, and I'll hear from you soon.
Thanks, man. See ya.
See ya. All right, I think I'll take one more phone call. 813-433-0323. Next person to call in will get on here. Maybe I'll just keep adding people. I don't know. Call the show, and then we'll just keep adding people until Skype crashes. Oh, no. Oh, wait, no. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi. It's Yaker. I'm from New York.
What are you doing, my man? How you doing?
Hey, how are you? I just wanted to say that if the Bucks do end up playing the Giants, I'm scared because, Brady has not played well against the Giants in playoffs, and they're the franchise that got us out of the playoffs last time.
Yeah, I definitely get that perspective, but I think the big wild card in that game will be just Daniel Jones and how he plays. I think if he plays well, it'll be a competitive game because that's how the Bucks usually play the Giants, but Daniel Jones is the guy that could very well single-handedly lose them that game. So, I definitely get the concern, but I don't feel like this is the Giants team of years past. But who the hell knows? Tom Brady against those teams that kind of eke into the playoffs, they usually find a way to upset him. So I guess we just have to wait and see what happens at this point. But, jury's still out. Could be Washington, so we could look out there.
Could be, but I think Washington will lose. I think the Giants are going to take over. I mean, Daniel Jones is mediocre, but their defense is strong this year.
Yeah, I think their defense is much better than anything the Bucks have played these past few weeks. And, in the playoffs, every drive, every snap matters. You've only got that one game. So if they show up ready to play, it'll definitely be a tight game like it was before. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, just final thoughts on it. Brady's washed, in my opinion, in the playoffs especially. I don't think he's going to be the same. The receiving core is overrated, and the Giants are going to win. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, man. Okay. He's still here. I got to hang up on him. Okay. Brady's washed, guys. Breaking news, Brady is washed. 40 touchdowns and 12 picks, and he's washed. The receiving core is overrated. You had two guys go for 130 plus yards today when your number one wide receiver went down. Totally overrated. Totally over fucking rated. Let's get one more call to cleanse the taste of that last guy out of her mouth. From the 941. Thanks for calling CFP. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
What's up, Brett? How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. So, I want to say, what do you think about that Cowboys-Giants game? I feel like the Cowboys got the game stolen from them.
I felt the same, and I personally, I have to go back and really watch it because I had admitted to the guy that I talked to a little bit earlier that, I guess somebody came up and made a play and Giants recovered and all this stuff, but I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
I was haphazardly watching the game between looking at my phone and Twitter, but I mean, yeah, part of me wants to say that the Cowboys got robbed, but it was just a crazy day of officiating. There were a lot of weird plays like that today.
Yeah, exactly. Especially I was more aiming for either either Washington or the Cowboys to play the Bucks because I think the last caller said it, but he didn't want to play the Giants either. Same to me because of what happened.
I don't know if you actually heard what the last caller said. He said Brady's washed, the Bucks wide receivers are overrated, and the Giants are going to win by 20.
My bad. Okay, that probably was some other call. I apologize.
No, you're good. I just got to remember, I got to remind myself that I heard what I just heard. 40 touchdowns and 12 interceptions makes you washed in today's NFL, I guess.
Exactly, and I'm definitely going to be watching the game later tonight, and definitely going to be cheering for Washington because I definitely do not want to be playing the Giants after that. Also, with that win, and I saw a bunch of your other shows, and you said something the way you thought, which gave Bucks wins. That I'm guessing you got yourself some Wingstop today.
Oh, dude, hell yeah! Every single week, they're 4-0 since I've started doing it regularly. I'm pretty sure they are. They are 8-0 on the season when I buy Wingstop. So I've had a lot of people, a lot of listeners chipping in on Cash App and helping me out every single week. But yeah, it's got to be, it's the weekly ritual from here till the end of time, because I think we may have found the winning formula there.
Yeah, definitely do not stop ordering that, especially next week. We definitely need that.
Hell yeah, brother, for sure. It'll be there by kickoff.
All right, sweet.
Anything else you wanted to go over before I let you go?
No, that's it. I guess go Bucks, and hope we do good next week.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate you. It was good hearing from you, and go Bucks.
Yeah, go Bucks.
All right, guys. That is probably going to wrap things up. I'm going to go ahead and close out Skype. We are done taking calls, but I wanted to take a second and say thank you guys very much for, one, all of your support over the regular season that you've shown this show, not only here on YouTube, but just on our podcast outlets as well. It really has been an awesome year. The best year yet statistics-wise for the podcast, and that is all in credit to you guys, so thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who called in, even the Giants troll. Like, I really do appreciate you guys, because whether you're calling in just to talk some shit, calling in to talk some ball, whatever it may be, we love to hear from you. That's what the show's all about, is an open communication line, and that's why I like doing the hotline shows, especially on days like today. But the Buccaneers, man, 11-5. 11 wins. The last good season they had, they went 10-6. We had that 9-7 year under Cutter, where they went 8-5 and then finished 1-2. This team is at a level that we have not seen them in a very long time, and all we can do is just wait and see what the future holds. But the playoffs will be great for Tampa Bay, and I'm excited about this team moving forward. I really think they have a shot. They play like they have a shot, and if they continue to play like they did today against Detroit, against the second half of that Falcons team, like, I really think that they can make a run. But the expectations are there. The players are ready. Hopefully Mike Evans can come back and be healthy before the season is over. But I definitely think they can get the job done if he doesn't suit up next week. Everybody out in the live chat, Dre, thank you so much. Kendall, I don't remember, but that AB call-in was crazy. So many viewers. It was, man. It was our best show. It's still our, like, number one stream ever. Let's go, Evan. Call me Kendall. Austin Tisdale. Dre, once again. England Paris, thank you for hanging out with us. The Awshit Twins. Something like that. Max Malaya, Winfield for Defensive Rookie of the Year. For damn sure, my friend. BB NMS Cafe. Sorry if I keep messing up your name. I'm trying to read these quickly, but anybody and everybody checking out the show today, truly appreciate you. If you're watching and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast. And you can also find myself on social media, Instagram and Twitter. Both of those are Rhettakus, RHETTAKUS. If you follow me, I will follow you back. That's going to do it for this call-in show. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. Myself and Evan will be releasing a just your run-of-the-mill game review. Maybe we'll have a special guest. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Wait and see. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream today. I'll talk to you later. Until then,